Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. Kazuhiro here. So obviously today this is a long awaited part 2 to the incident in Jeema. So if you haven't seen the first one, look in the top right of the screen is where I think cards appear, but look in the top right, click on the link up there. There's going to be a link obviously to the first part. You want to listen to that first before you listen to the second part, obviously, because it just makes sense. Just one quick thing I want to mention before we start this. Obviously, I've been doing a lot of work on this and I'm doing it for free. You guys are listening to this for absolute free. If there's ads, it's just YouTube putting ads on it without me getting paid. But it's a bit of a shitty move, but nothing I can really do about it. So check out the description, links to a lot of things down there, especially my online shop where you can purchase my art, and let's get this started. Today's just like any other. I get up and head off to school. At least it's Friday. I look up at the skies above. The clouds were dark, the sun hiding behind the clouds. I look back in front of myself and see Tora walking to school. I sprint ahead to catch up to her. "Hey, Doro, seems like you know where you're going now," I yell out. She jumps once she hears my voice. She turns to look at me, then drops her shoulders and relaxes her body. "Oh, you startled me, Ichigo," Doro responded. "Thanks to your help, I do." She let out a half smile and slowed down her walking pace to let me catch up. We didn't talk much after that. She just stared at the ground, hiding her face. Once we got to school, she seemed to tense up. Class continued on as it usually does. I guess it's back to normal life for me. Dora and I walked home together that night as well. However, once I got home, something seemed off. Before I even opened the door, I could sense dread. I creaked open the door and slowly headed inside. I could hear my parents arguing, which was incredibly rare. I came up to the door to their room and tried to listen in. "It's something we should be worried about." "I know, sweetie, but we can't let Ichigo know. God knows what'll happen to any kid if they hear something like that is happening." "Maybe we should start walking with him to make sure I accidentally hit the door. "I'm home," I called out. My parents went quiet for a moment, then opened the door and welcomed me home. I decided I would ignore what happened and headed to my room. Luckily, we don't have any homework to do tonight. I opened my Xbox and started playing video games. My mind wondered at some point, however, what could they have been talking about? Maybe it really is best if I just don't know. I continue playing games until I get tired, not knowing the time I went to bed. I get up the following morning, feeling a little groggy. I may have been up far later than I thought. At least it's finally the weekend. I don't know exactly what to do, however. I took a moment to think, then realized I could head over to Toru's house. So I tell my parents I'll be visiting a friend and head off. They seemed surprised to hear that, and I guess I don't typically hang out with friends. "Just be careful and be wary of the bad weather," my mom called out. I confirmed that I would be fine and headed out. I could feel it sprinkling. I should probably hurry over to Toru's house. I guess this all depends if she even lets me in. Once I got there, I knock on the door. I stand there until it opens and am met with a not-so-familiar face. After a moment, I realized it was Toru, just without her bangs covering most of her face. She seemed surprised to see me. "Hey, I was wondering if you'd mind hanging out at your place for a while?" I asked her. Thinking about it now, this wasn't much of a good idea, barging over to someone's house. To my surprise, she responded. I suppose I don't mind," she whispered. Come in." I obliged and headed inside of her house. I took a look around and noticed one other person in the house. It seemed to be her dad. "Hey, Toro, is this a friend of yours? If so, I'm glad to see you're already making friends," he said in a soft yet deep tone. I turned my gaze back to Toro, noticing she had deep red eyes. She noticed I was looking at her eyes and turned her head to where I couldn't see her. "Thanks for letting me hang out here, Toro. It's no problem. Let's just head up to my room." I followed her to her room. Her room was nothing that I had imagined it would be like. She had every current gen console and a PC. It's like a gamer haven. So you like playing games as well? I sort of blurted out. Yeah, do you think it's weird? She whispered, still averting her face. Girl playing games? I heard her say something, but I couldn't quite make it out. I don't think it's weird at all. I think it's cool that we both share the same hobby. I still felt weird being like this. This isn't me. Since when did I get so bold as to where I come to a girl's house to hang out? We can play something if you want, I suggested. Toro seemed happy to hear my response, then went over to her Xbox and turned it on. There's a game on here that pretty much requires 2 people, if you're okay with playing that, she said. She seemed a lot happier and a lot less stressed, so I agreed. We played games like that for a while until my phone went off. Toro and I both stopped what we were doing. I looked down and picked up my phone. Toro went back to playing while I picked up my phone and took a look at it. My parents had messaged me asking if I was having fun and when I planned on coming back home. I took a look at the time, 1 p.m. I suppose it is about lunchtime. Maybe I should head back, or I could just stay at Toro's place.